This video isn't a Minecraft recording. It will be audio only because, well, this video is supposed to be taken seriously, and I don't think Minecraft gameplay in the background is gonna represent that well. So, yeah.
This video contains sensitive topics such as sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and sexual assault.
Addiction and suicide.
Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, I'm T. Yeah. April, which is Sexual Assault, Abuse, and Harassment Awareness Month, has ended, and now May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, is about to end soon too. But before it does, me and my friend Kyo
And our friend Soren.
would like to say some things. Now, if you didn't listen to the warning at the start, I'll say it again. This video mentions sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and sexual assault. Click off if you would not like to proceed further. Or, well, if you're stubborn enough to stay, then, welcome. Sit tight and listen. This might be a little heavy. I won't sugarcoat this. I'm not ashamed of it either. I am a survivor of sexual abuse. I will be talking about what happened and my experience with the absolute mental toll it had and still has on me, and how I've been so far. Me and my friend Kyo
And our friend Soren.
will be talking about our experience with SA. There's a lot I want to say, but for now, I'll say what I can and leave the rest for the future, maybe. I was being abused by my older male cousin who was 5 years older than me. I don't remember my age at the time, but I know it went on for a couple of years. Maybe when I was 5, 6, or 7, until I was freshly 9 years old. I didn't realize that it was abuse until I was in the middle of 6th grade, and my brain just unblocked it from my memory. Because now that I realized it, I think my brain might have blocked off that memory because I was just too small to understand, and it decided that being almost 12 or 13, I don't remember, but my brain thought I was ready to remember and process that. I, uh, I had to kind of, process it for a bit, a week or so. I don't remember how long I waited to tell my mom. Um, it was on the last day of exam week before Christmas break, until early in the morning, 7:02 a.m. on the 20th of December 2022, before exam started. I texted her. I told her what happened when I was younger. I told her I was 7 when it happened, but now that I think of it, I think it happened before I was 7, like I said a while ago. She said to focus on exams and that we'd talk when I'd come home. I did pretty good during the exams, I think I remember, and then I went home. Um, we talked about it, so okay, to explain, I live with my cousins, my aunts, and our grandmother. So after I told her everything, nervous and through tears, well, the nervous and through tears thing, it's completely normal when you're telling somebody about something really deep that happened to you. I remember my mother holding me and told me words that I will forever remember. Me and your dad just want you to grow up normally. And now that I look back at that memory, I can't help but sob a little. I'm sorry if I start crying mid recording. This is a very heavy thing, a very heavy topic for me. So, back to what I was saying about me living with my relatives. Yeah, so my mom gets up and leaves me there in our room for a while, and then I just hear next door her yelling at my cousin who sexually abused me. And honestly, definitely one of my fondest memories. of course, my mom's sister, also my aunt, and also the mother of that person who I do not consider to be my family despite being cousins by blood. Yeah, so my aunt heard my mom yelling from my abuser's room, asked her what happened, and I hear my mom tell her, and yeah. After that, I told her too what happened, and she just looked empty. I remember the look in her eyes when I told her what her son did. Uh, his older brother found out too and was also disappointed at my abuser. The following morning, the first thing my mom said to me was that he got kicked out of the house, and I thought, maybe I'll be fine now, and I won't ever have to see him again. Yippee! Wrong. Maybe in like February of next year, I was gonna go to groceries with my mom, and she asked me if I could forgive my abuser, and so he could come and live with us again to continue studying. I was internally just freaking out, and not in a good way. Like, bro, you want the guy who sexually abused your daughter for years to come live with us again? Now, this was a time where I was trying to be religious and closer to God, and I remember this one TikTok video where this guy said, "Forgive others as God would forgive you. If you do not forgive others, God will not forgive you." Which is like a messed up thing to say. Now, I'm not religious, but isn't God like all forgiving and all loving? Well, I mean, the God of the Christian God or Catholic God. Yeah, something like that. And my younger self was like, oh, maybe I should forgive him. And I told my mom I will. Biggest mistake of my life. Bro, now I'm back to living with this dumbass next door and I hate it. I wake up peacefully and I'm like, man, I love being alive. Then I hear his voice in the dining room and I'm like, ew, this dude is here. I'm not ashamed of being a sexual abuse survivor. In fact, it's led me to loving myself enough to know it's okay to hate someone for what they did to you, and it's okay to cry because of it, because it hurts, okay? No matter how long I've gone every day surviving with that hurt and trauma, it it hurts so much. It just hurts so much. My trauma has led to self-hate that just comes around when I'm alone and trying to sleep. I love myself. I really do. Really try my best to replace that hate with love. I'm I'm only 15. I shouldn't be having to experience this, but this world can just be so cruel that it doesn't care who you are. I'm not ashamed for who I am as a person. That trauma and the things I went through are part of me, and I accept that. What I don't accept is people like him thinking it's fine to just exist without apologizing for what he did. To think it's okay to look at the person you abused, assuming they're chill with you. He has yet to apologize to me, and when he does, I might not accept it, or nor will I forgive him. Someday, maybe, I'll remember he's a person too, and I won't demonize him. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. But after all, I'm only 15 and still have a long way to go. But until then, until I'm older and I'm confidently calling myself a survivor, I'll be busy learning to love myself more than I do now. Love myself to know, to forgive myself for things that are not within my control. Love myself to sleep peacefully and wake up loving life. Love myself enough to talk to people I trust when things get heavy. Love myself enough to love others with that same love. Just busy learning to love. To everyone watching this video, you deserve love. You deserve to know what actual proper love feels like. If you too are a victim, soon to be survivor, or are now confidently calling yourself a survivor, know that you deserve love. Don't let others tell you otherwise.
Don't be afraid to raise awareness about SA and make sure you do it properly. Um, Here are examples on how to respectfully raise awareness. Number one, educate. Promote consent. Sorry if I'm stuttering. I started crying. I'm so sorry. Well, no, I shouldn't be apologizing for crying. Crying is completely valid, especially right now. Anyways, as I was saying, number one, educate. Promote consent. Consent. Wow, I'm stuttering. Okay. Promote consent. Tell people about boundary. Okay, I'm completely cutting out that part. Don't be afraid to raise awareness about SA and make sure you do it properly. Here are examples on how to respectfully raise awareness. Number one, educate. Promote consent. Tell people about boundaries and remember to respect said boundaries. If someone says no, it means no. Here's how to say it. No. Oh. Okay, you got that? You got that? No. Oh. And what do we do when someone says no? That's right. Respect it. Don't push until they say don't push. Don't keep pushing to the point they say yes so you can leave them alone. Even if they're hesitant, give them time to think. Don't coerce them. Call out harmful behavior. If you see someone joking about SA, even if it's a joke, even if you shouldn't joke about it, call them out. Same goes to victim blaming and sexual violence. Correct them and tell them joking about something like that and such violence is harmful. It's harmful to people who don't know much about it. It's harmful to survivors. It's harmful to victims, and it's just harmful, dude. Accountability. Remember, remind others that SA is never the victim's fault. The perpetrator or perpetrators, plural, are responsible for that violence. Number two, support survivors. Listen and validate. We listen and we don't judge the survivors, okay? Validate their feelings, let them talk to you at their own pace. Don't try to pry information out of them. Support them on their journey and be there for them. Share resources. Don't force survivors to report, let them do it at their own pace. What you can do is provide them information on where to get help, like ECPAT, that was originally founded as End Child Prostitution in Asian Tourism. The network now operates in over 100 countries to fight child sex trafficking, online exploitation, and forced marriages, and of course, the World Health Organization. Don't be afraid to show that you are aware. You can make posts about it. Don't be scared to participate in campaigns. Even if it's small, let your voice be heard. Number three, take action in your community. Encourage those around you to raise awareness too. Volunteer or donate. Support local rape crisis centers, advocacy networks, or organizations protecting vulnerable populations. And of course, use social media. We live in an age where you can just say stuff online and people will be able to see it. Use social media to share information and to encourage others to spread awareness and support.
And remember, don't be afraid to speak. Be the love this world needs. You are loved. For this next part, I will be voicing it, and my friend would like to remain anonymous and go under a pseudonym named Soren. This is their story. This is something Soren never really got to tell anyone at the time because most of their close friends were friends with their perpetrator. And also, they couldn't tell their parents either because they didn't want them to harm the person. This bothers Soren so much, but it still sickens them when they think about it. Soren was dating someone at the moment, their ex girlfriend, who we will be calling Strawberry. Strawberry was a crush of Soren since Soren at the time was in a situationship for their own safety, but they got broken up because of Strawberry. It took them a while to accept the fact that they were being manipulated the entire time. Soren was pushed into having a relationship with Strawberry because she was very dependent over them, and she also was doing mentally unwell at the time. Soren felt like they needed to empathize with her in a way, but she always wanted to make things romantic between them. Strawberry kept on sobbing about the fact they always took her platonically, so that's where they ended up in a relationship out of pity. It was fine at first, though, but Soren was also doing mentally unwell, so they tried to see the entire thing as something that they could heal with. They started off in a way that didn't harm the both of them. They liked to yap to each other a lot, have their physical intimacy, give each other gifts, and sort of all that lovey stuff. Soren was at first uncomfortable. They had an underlying fear of confronting and abandoning people they should have long ago. So Soren went along with with her actions until it became comforting to them. This situation made Soren open up more about their emotional anguish towards her, and it goes the same with Strawberry to Soren too. Strawberry constantly reminded Soren of how her past relationships were always awful, and how Soren was always different from them just because they could handle her. Though there were many times where Strawberry was very avoidant to Soren. She pushed Soren physically whenever they wanted to reassure her, and she often ran to her other friends whenever they had a small argument. Their relationship was falling apart during the start, but she didn't want to let go of Soren yet. At this time, Soren was experiencing severe depression and mental exhaustion because of the things that were happening at their home and with their connections too. Strawberry became much more clingier every time she noticed that Soren became more distant because of their state, but she never expressed it aggressively this time. Strawberry was sweet towards Soren, acting as if their past arguments never happened. Days passed on with the same behavior. Soren was deeply uncomfortable at this point and couldn't bring up the end of their relationship just because Soren had a fear of how their connections would see them, how their parents would see them, and how things would turn out for their image at school. Soren was afraid because they were connected to so many of their closest friends. She could have ruined Soren's life if she wanted to. So Soren kept on following Strawberry's plans, and the situation between them got so much worse during the day of. They had planned so much together, but she ended up talking to her other friends, which made Soren deeply upset. They expected something one to one with her, but she pushed all those plans away. Since that day, Soren never reached out to her. They tried to meet up with her. They never replied to her text. They never tried looking at her at school. It was silence. During that day, Soren didn't want to remember the date of when this happened. All they know, it happened after. That day, a friend came over to Soren's house and asked them to visit Strawberry, as Soren couldn't answer her text. At the time, Soren didn't want to be associated with her at all, but something in Soren made them feel curious to what she had to say to them. So Soren went to visit her. Upon visiting her house, none of her parents were home this time. It was only her aunt, and she told Soren that she wanted to talk about literally everything. Soren's sudden distance, their coldness towards her, the reason to why Soren was running away from her at school and ignoring her text, that stuff. Soren had enough. They lashed out on her in the most aggressive tone they could have ever talked to somebody. Soren was sobbing uncontrollably. Soren didn't remember much because there's so many holes in the situation. Strawberry started crying about how much she regretted doing those things and how just sort of laid down there on her bed. And Soren thought they found comfort in that situation. But Strawberry started to get much closer to Soren, and then she started to pull off Soren's clothes. Soren couldn't even do anything. They were just too tired and let it happen. Strawberry kept kissing Soren on the cheek, asking them if it was okay. Soren kept on insisting it was and that they were okay, even though Soren was so close to crying again. Strawberry was upset that Soren wasn't doing anything back. Soren tried to touch her frantically, but she told Soren that they were hurting her, and she noticed how Soren was shaking and looked uneasy. So she stopped and started getting off the bed. Strawberry left Soren there and did something else because of how disgusted she felt. Soren knew she felt disgusted. Soren didn't know what happened after this, but they fell asleep on her bed and got scolded by their dad for being home so late. And they kept on trying to forget that this happened by distracting themselves, but it kept resurfacing back to them. Eventually, Soren forgave her for what she did because she told them that she wasn't in her right mind while doing so. Soren didn't want to go think about it further, so they just let things go. They acted as if nothing happened afterwards, but their relationship was completely broken afterwards. Soren left the situation untouched for around 2 months. They wanted to enjoy with their family and forget that this happened. Soren never told anyone. They stayed silent about this and constantly distracted themselves with their hobbies and friends, so they couldn't be reminded of this at all. This was until somewhere around then. Soren was invited to a birthday party of their ex best friend who was also really close with Strawberry. It was fine since by the time Soren was really excited to be in the party. Well, that was until a bunch of people from their grade were also coming, which were people who weren't as close to Soren. By this time, Strawberry hasn't arrived yet due to their drum lessons. This was the time Soren was at this huge table eating with their friends. Out of all of a sudden, one of Soren's friends, who wasn't aware of the situation, decided to bring up the topic of Soren and Strawberry being together. They were asking what happened between them, and Soren couldn't say at all. Soren stood there trying to pretend they didn't hear them, and their friend stood up from their chair and asked them if they were deaf in a joking tone. The birthday girl told him off and told him that they broke up, and everyone in the table looked at Soren with this awful look to their face, and Soren was trying to brush it away by telling them that they were all right. But everyone stood there so silently. It brought Soren shame and a sickening feeling to their stomach. It felt like Soren was going to vomit at the moment, so Soren quickly found an excuse to leave, and they left as fast as they could. Upon walking home, Soren started spiraling, thinking about everything that happened. Everything started resurfacing back to their mind despite all the times they've tried to wash it away. They thought about their family, their friends, and Strawberry. Soren thought that everyone thinks that there's some kind of person that's hiding a shameful secret. Soren thought they were overreacting, and Soren thought they could never tell anyone the truth. So that day, Soren tried to commit suicide. Upon entering their house, they frantically picked up the notes they were saving for their parents and left a warning on their Discord status about their attempt. This part of the messages brought Soren to tears just thinking about it. And so, while Soren was trying to tie the rope to the hook on the door that was high enough to hang from, their best friend at the time, who is now their girlfriend, was spam calling them. She was awfully worried, and they weren't even close to that time, but yet still even. She even went to Soren's house, and Soren's parents walked into the room, seeing what Soren was about to do. They told Soren that they were here, and they stopped Soren from doing so. Soren couldn't say anything to their friend at the time, but they were there to comfort them either way. Soren felt grateful. They don't know, but they'll never know how much they had saved Soren from doing so. And that's the end of Soren's part.
I don't really know how to start this off, but I'll be talking about my experience with SA and its effects, my advice about it, and why I think awareness is extremely important. First of all, my experience. I don't really remember well because of my memory loss, so it's a bit confusing, even to me, but I'll try to retell the story the best I can. When I was in the sixth grade, I was best friends with this kid who was a troublemaker. Let's call him A. One day, me and A were playing games together. The game was Truth or Dare. I don't remember what exactly the dare was, but it had something to do with inappropriate things. I remember just laughing it off, thinking it was a joke, but then when we were watching some dance practice together, he called me over to sit with him. I assumed that he just wanted to talk like usual since we were friends after all. I went over to and sat with him. That's when he started touching me. I won't go into detail, but he touched me places that no one should be touching, especially without asking. I got extremely nervous and just played along to not make him mad, which is called fawn response, by the way. This went on for maybe around 2 weeks. I don't remember well. Every time he'd sit next to me and start doing it, I'd tell him to stop because what if we were caught? He just told me that I should shut up and that he'd make sure no one else would know. He even told me not to tell anyone or bad things would happen, apparently. It's very safe to say that I never told anyone. Okay, the guy was very strong and I was just a scared 11-year-old. Because I never told anyone, I was never able to fully heal. I thought I could do it on my own, when in reality, I couldn't because I was just an 11-year-old. And no 11-year-old should be facing that pain all alone. Because of that, it only got worse and worse. And because I had no guidance or support, oh my gosh, why did I turn Texan? Okay, I'm doing that again. Because of that, it only got worse and worse. And because I had no guidance or support, I headed down the wrong path. AKA hypersexuality and porn addictions. That was very hard to say. Even though it was already over for like weeks, I felt like I missed it. But spoiler alert, no, I did not miss it. It was just a trauma response. I think it was called Stockholm Syndrome or something. Anyways, I thought that being used for your body was what love really is. And I really wanted to feel wanted and loved again, even though that was not the right definition of love. Other than the addictions and stuff, some of the other effects I had were a sudden aversion to touch and a fear of men. This may sound funny to those teenagers who say, "I'm scared of women." But yes, I am afraid of men. And it will never be funny because of the reason behind it. Whenever a person touches me without warning, even in a way that doesn't have any bad intent, I panic and have a meltdown. It's very safe to say I'm still affected by these now and constantly have mental breakdowns over it. My brain even tries to wipe the memory off my brain as, I guess, a trauma response. So, yeah, that's why I never really remember things. Anyways, now on to why I think we should raise awareness. Kids should be taught about SA and consent at an early age. Yes, it may be inappropriate, but you can use euphemisms and metaphors. That's why they exist. Since many kids don't learn what SA is, it often happens to them and they never realize it until they're older and it's already too late. Yeah, it's very unfortunate we live in an age where even little kids have to be afraid and worry when they should just be enjoying their childhood. But that's how life is, and we can't really do much to change it other than just be safer than sorry. I also think we should raise awareness for SA due to the many misconceptions surrounding it, and because it's not taken seriously enough. Okay, so when I went through it, I didn't even find out it was very bad until months later. And even then, I didn't tell anyone in my family for almost 2 years later because I was afraid no one would take me seriously or believe me because I saw how many people were just taking it as a joke. We shouldn't. Okay, we should teach people that isn't a thing that we should joke about because many victims hesitate to report their situation due to the people that only take it as a joke. Unfortunately, many people think SA is still a joke, but it will never be funny to joke about. It's something that causes lifelong trauma, and in some cases, it causes permanent damage, such as incontinence or damaged organs. You guys know what organs I mean. I think it's sick and absolutely disgusting how some people think SA is something to joke about or that it's funny or fun to gossip about with friends. I have a classmate who purposefully touches me in my private areas and then laughs and calls me sensitive when I panic and are on the verge of having a meltdown. Ignore the grammar, please. I don't know how to say that or word it properly. I know people who don't even try to help the victims. Instead, all they're interested in is the gossip surrounding the situation, not supporting the victims or asking if they're okay. I wholeheartedly think that this is because nobody bothers to raise awareness about SA and its effects and why victims should be supported in the first place. The government in my country thinks that it's unholy to teach kids about consent and the birds and the bees talk so young, but think about the potential victims that could be spared if they just learn about it earlier. Think of how many boys will actually learn that respecting women and their consent is important. Think of how many girls could learn that self-respect is nice and that you should have boundaries. Since the government isn't doing anything to teach the kids or keep them safe, I decided I will help my friend raise awareness today. That's all I could think to say. Even if I was a bit messy and unorganized, I hope you viewers still managed to learn and get inspired to help raise awareness. If you so happen to be a victim yourself, this is my advice from my experience. Go tell your story, please. Inspire others to reach out for help as well. Don't be ashamed of something that wasn't your fault. Be proud that you survived and made it to live to see this day. If you want your life to end, no, don't think that ever. Live to see another day and prove that you're stronger than your abusers. Don't be afraid to keep fighting until you get justice or whatever it is you want. There will always be people that will support you until you're healed or get justice, as long as you find the right people. If the people around you don't take you seriously, that's alright. Go fight for yourself. You don't need them. I know that you, viewer, that you're strong enough to fight for yourself. You're strong, okay? And I am very proud that there are others out there who are strong enough to survive. That's all I could really think to say. Thanks for listening.